February 18th to March 18th, 2025, I spent 4 weeks living at Ajit Nivas Palace in Drangadra, Gujarat, India. This was my third time visiting India. My journey began in 2005 when I, along with my friend Michael Oppenheim, spent 6 weeks in India as part of Temple University's Summer Study Abroad program. It was a transformative experience that introduced me to the rich history, culture, and traditions of the subcontinent. My second visit was in 2018, when I spent a month living at Ajit Nivas Palace in Drangadra as a guest filmmaker for Temple University's Study Abroad program in India. During that time, I deepened my connection to the region, immersing myself in its stories and capturing its essence through my lens. On this third journey, I felt as though I had come full circle. Returning to Gujarat in 2025, I felt a profound sense of familiarity, a homecoming of sorts, enriched by the deep bonds I had formed over the years. I was incredibly fortunate to be welcomed once again as a guest of Jaleshwar Maharaja Dr. Jayasingh Jhala, the Raj of Jhalavad Drangadra. Jaleshwar is the traditional title of the leader of the Jhala clan of Rajput Kshatriyas. The origins of this kingdom trace back nearly 1,000 years to Raj Harpal Dev Ji, the first king of Jhalavad, who is venerated as a deity in the region. The historical depth of Jhalavad, now known as Jhalavad Drangadra, is woven into its landscapes, its architecture, and the very lives of its people. During this visit, I experienced an overwhelming sense of hospitality. Everywhere I went, I was met with kindness, generosity, and a willingness to share stories and traditions. I was invited into homes, guided through historic sites, and taken on journeys that allowed me to see Gujarat through the eyes of those who call it home. Over the course of my stay, I traveled through Drangadra, Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Jinjuwada, Jezada village, Kund village, and Salangpur. Each location held its own charm and historical significance, revealing different facets of Gujarat's cultural and architectural heritage. With every step, my appreciation for the region deepened, and my camera became a vessel for capturing these moments in time. This documentary, The Knights of Jhalavad, Return to Drangadra, is a visual chronicle of my experiences, an attempt to document the rich history, enduring traditions, and vibrant life of the people of Gujarat. Through thousands of photographs, I sought to encapsulate the spirit of this land, the warmth of its people, and the majesty of its heritage. This journey, like the ones before it, has left an indelible mark on me, and I hope that through these images and videos, I can share a piece of that experience with you. Kumbh Mela is no ordinary gathering. It takes place once every 12 years, part of a sacred cycle passed down for generations. But this year's Kumbh Mela 2025 is exceptional. It marks the culmination of 12 full cycles, 12 times 12 years, 144 years. This is the kind of cosmic alignment that only occurs once in 2 lifetimes. It's said to signify the end of the old universe and the rebirth of a new one, a spiritual reset. That may sound like myth or mysticism, but I felt it, an invisible pull, magnetic and undeniable, drawing me back to India at this precise moment in time. Tonight, I found myself in the heart of the Shivratri festival. Amid a sea of worshippers, I stepped into the den of Lord Shiva. Something ancient stirred in the air. The atmosphere was electric. Bells ringing, conch shells echoing across the temple walls, devotional songs rising in waves. The scent of incense hung heavy, sweet and sacred. I sat down quietly in the sanctum, letting the sound and smoke swirl around me. In that moment, with the Brahmin priest beside me, I poured cool water over the head of Shiva's murti, encircled by garlands of fresh flowers. It was a simple gesture, but it carried a depth I can't quite explain, an offering of reverence in the presence of something infinite. In that moment, I felt as if I was truly in the presence of God. February 27th, 2025. This morning, I journeyed toward Kund village, located in Drangadra Taluka, within Gujarat's Surendranagar district. My guide, host, and driver for the day was Sanjay Singh Jhala, a warm and knowledgeable companion whose connection to the land runs deep. As we approached Kund, the first thing that struck me was a serene pond nestled on the village's edge. It shimmered in the sunlight and teemed with life. Birds of all kinds fluttering along its banks and skimming the water's surface. The stillness of the pond contrasted beautifully with the vitality it held. Our first stop was the village's Shaktima temple. A large red flag flapped boldly in the wind above the temple, an emblem of divine feminine power. I stood before the sanctum, made a quiet prayer, and received a red tilak on my forehead from the Brahmin priest. The gesture, simple yet symbolic, signified spiritual awakening, a reminder to be present and open to what this place had to teach. From there, we visited a 400-year-old Shiva temple, a structure shaped by time, still standing with quiet dignity. Outside its walls stood a line of ancient paliyas, stone cenotaphs carved in memory of warriors and ancestors. Weathered and solemn, they held centuries of memory in their silent forms. As I stood among them, I felt the depth of history beneath my feet. Kund is a place where the past speaks gently, not in grand declarations, but in the stillness of a pond, the flicker of a temple flame, the quiet strength of carved stone. On March 2nd, 2025, I received an invitation from my friend, the photographer Premji Rudatala, to join him on a visit to Rajkot. Our destination was the home and business of Ganalbai Maldari, a prosperous Barvod cattle herder with deep roots in Gujarat. Premji and I made the 3-hour drive west from Drangadra with young musician Vivek Sadhu, just 21 years old, at the wheel. We arrived around lunchtime at the Hotel Maldari restaurant, located near Gondal Chowk in Rajkot. The restaurant, wedding hall, and dairy operations were all part of Mr. Maldari's family enterprise. Inside, I was introduced to two of his daughters. One of them, Dr. Meghavi, is a dentist and has even lived in the United States, a reminder of the bridge between rural tradition and global modernity. Lunch was a true feast, a 10-course Gujarati meal, rich with flavors and textures. Many of the ingredients, especially the dairy, came directly from Mr. Maldari's own farm. It was a beautiful expression of hospitality and pride in local agriculture. After the meal, we drove for about an hour into the countryside beyond Rajkot. Along the way, we passed a newly built wind energy farm. The towering turbines turned gracefully in the breeze, a hopeful sign of India's growing embrace of green energy. The land gently rolled into low hills dotted with trees and fields before opening into the estate. Mr. Maldari's private property was expansive. We rested in the shade of his stately home, a structure that blended rustic charm with dignified elegance. As we sat, two of his shepherds brought over a herd of 80 cattle, majestic Gir cows, native to Gujarat and revered for their high-quality milk. Their broad, rounded heads and serene eyes gave them an almost regal presence. Before we left, Mr. Maldari presented me with a traditional cotton shepherd's scarf embroidered in red and blue. It was a kind and meaningful gift, one that spoke to a culture of warmth, generosity, and pride in heritage. I left feeling deeply honored, not only for the hospitality that I received, but for the opportunity to witness a way of life rooted in the land, yet open to the future. March 8th, 2025. Today, I reunited with an old acquaintance, Saljinath Madari, the snake charmer. Our friendship now spans 2 decades. I first met him in 2005 during my earliest visit to Drangadra. This marks the 3rd time we've met, and each encounter has been unforgettable. Saljinath comes from a long line of snake charmers. He learned his craft from his father, Popat Nath, who in turn was trained by his own father. The Madari, an ancestral caste whose very name means snake charmer, passed down their knowledge through generations, preserving an ancient and often misunderstood art. The Indian king cobra, the snake Salji handles, is one of the most venomous snakes on earth. It's native to southern India and commands both awe and fear. Yet Salji knows how to approach it with calm and precision. He keeps the cobra in a woven wicker basket and feeds it milk, though in the wild the cobra is a hunter, feeding on other animals for their fluids. It's a creature that can survive for long stretches without water, and it holds a special place in the mythology and ecology of India. What fascinates me most about Salji isn't just his ability to charm snakes, it's his vast folk knowledge of wildlife. His connection to the natural world is intuitive and deeply respectful. He reads the land, the behavior of animals, the rhythms of weather, in ways few modern people can. Seeing him again reminded me of the enduring presence of India's living traditions, practices that seem almost mythical but are, in fact, grounded in real lives, real families, and real skill. Salji is not a performer for tourists. He is a guardian of cultural memory, a teacher of old knowledge, and for me, he's also a friend. The heat in Drangadra today reached 101 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cooled down slightly to 82 degrees Fahrenheit as I write this in the quiet of the night, but I know this is just a prelude. Come summer, the temperature here can climb as high as 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Still, despite the heat, there's a warmth in Gujarat that transcends weather. The people of Drangadra have welcomed me with kindness and open hearts. I'm fortunate to be part of the Ajit Nivas Palace community, a place of heritage, culture, and personal significance. That connection exists thanks to my mentor and friend, Maharaja Dr. Jayasinji Jhala. One of the highlights of this trip was a thrilling journey deep into the desert expanse of the Little Rann of Kutch. We ventured out in an off-road jeep, bouncing over the arid terrain, surrounded by stark beauty and a profound silence that seems to echo with centuries of history. Just over a year ago, on February 25th, 2024, I was deeply honored when Jaleshwar Maharaja Dr. Jayasinji Jhala appointed me a Knight of the Royal Order of Jhalavad. The title was bestowed in recognition of my cultural contributions to the former princely state. I carry this responsibility with humility, inspired by the kingdom's noble motto, to render help to the helpless. My journey with Jaleshwar Maharaja Dr. Jhala began in 2004 when we met at Temple University in Philadelphia. He told me then that he was of royal descent, a prince. Years later, following the passing of his father, Jaleshwar Maharaja Meghrajji III, and the passing of his elder brother, Jaleshwar Maharaja Sodsalji, Dr. Jhala assumed the throne as the 47th Jaleshwar Maharaja of Jhalavad Drangadra, the ceremonial head of the Jhala Rajput clan. In November 2017, Dr. Jayasinji Jhala himself became 47th Jaleshwar Maharaja of Jhalavad Drangadra. Over the years, our bond has only grown stronger. We've collaborated on several book projects, shared ideas, and supported each other's creative work. Though now he resides in Cambridge, Massachusetts, his guidance continues to illuminate my path. On this visit to Drangadra, Dr. Jhala was not present, and I navigated Gujarat on my own, but I never felt alone. I was carried forward by the generosity of old friends and the enthusiasm of new ones. As I sit here in Ajit Nivas Palace, I reflect with deep gratitude on Jaleshwar Maharaja Dr. Jhala's enduring support, mentorship, and friendship. This journey of cultural exploration, of photography, of storytelling would not have been possible without his belief in me and his generous spirit. I've known Gogabai Barvad since 2018. He is a traditional cattle herder, a Barvad, as they're called in Gujarati. The term itself reflects his identity, both occupational and cultural. He speaks no English, having never received formal education, but we understand one another through gestures, shared routine, and quiet respect. The invention of Google Translate app has opened new doors of communication for me. I'm able to hold a conversation in Gujarati with Gogabai using the app. Gogabai comes from Jinjuwada village, a remote rural community of cattle shepherds, about 45 minutes outside of Drangadra. He lives with his children and grandchildren in a home in the center of Drangadra. Despite the distance, he has built a life rooted in tradition and service, and he now tends his herd on the grounds of Ajit Nivas Palace. Each morning, he opens the wooden gates of the stockade and releases his 15 cows to graze in the open fields. Their milk is pure, rich, and full of flavor. Every day begins with a hot cup of chai made from the fresh milk of Gogabai's cows. It's more than a drink, it's a ritual of nourishment and connection. Gogabai is also deeply spiritual. A devout Hindu, he is a follower of the goddess Mogul-Ma. His faith is not quiet or private, it's ecstatic and public. Last year, he was even featured on television during a Hindu festival, caught in a moment of deep spiritual trance as bhajans or Hindu devotional music filled the air. As the rhythm swelled, he danced in divine rapture, embodying the fervor of rural Gujarat's living faith. To watch Gogabai work is to witness a life steeped in tradition and devotion. His hands tell the story of generations, of herders, believers, caretakers of the land and its animals. He reminds me that wisdom comes in many forms, and that grace often lives far from words. On February 28th, 2025, I was the guest of Prince Ranmal Jhala at a meeting of the newly formed Jinjuwada Jhalavad Heritage Foundation. The meeting took place in a high-rise office tower in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. The meeting was attended by 18 professionals from various backgrounds. There were present an architect, a restoration and non-profit expert, a homestay and tour guide expert from the Little Rann homestay named Mahendra Jhala, an accountant and a lawyer, and some local representatives from the horse riding and equestrian community. On March 10th and 11th, 2025, I journeyed from Drangadra to Jinjuwada by way of car, first by highway, then on dirt roads. Jinjuwada is a medieval village once founded as a fortress nearly 1,000 years ago in the area of the Little Rann of Kutch in the Jhalavad region of the state of Gujarat, India. Raj Harpal Devji, revered locally as a deity, was born 960 years ago and served as the governor of Jinjuwada and the progenitor of the Jhala royal dynasty. On our visit to Jinjuwada, we toured 5 medieval arches in various states of disrepair. The grandest of the arches is covered in 1,000-year-old sandstone carvings and sculptures. The 4 other arches are in disrepair and desperate need of restoration. I found the edge of Lake Jinjuwada quite beautiful, watching women wash clothes in the waters and buffalo bathing in the cool waters. The Little Rann of Kutch is a desert landscape 11 months out of the year. For 1 month, during the monsoon rain seasons, the desert floods as the waters of the Arabian Sea rush in. The Little Rann of Kutch is one of India's top 3 most important salt production sites. The salt in the Little Rann of Kutch is farmed by a people known as the Agaria. They use centuries-old techniques to create pools of salt water and evaporate the water using the sun to leave behind sodium crystals. If you are interested in visiting Jinjuwada and the Little Rann of Kutch, contact Little Rann Homestays and Mahendra Jhala could be your guide. On March 13th, 2025, I visited the village of Salangpur in the Botad district of Gujarat, India, on the auspicious Hindu holiday of Holi. I made the journey with my two good friends, Jaipal Singh Jadeja and Dharamraj Jhala. We set out by car from Drangadra, embarking on a 3-hour drive through the heart of Gujarat. Salangpur is renowned across India for its colossal, larger-than-life statue of Hanuman, the monkey-faced Hindu deity known for his superhuman strength, unwavering devotion, and divine protection. Hanuman is a symbol of courage, and those who pray to him believe he brings good fortune and strength of spirit. The Hanuman temple complex in Salangpur was awe-inspiring. At its heart stood the Sri Kashtabhanjan Hanumanji temple, adjacent to a sprawling courtyard. On this day of Holi, the courtyard overflowed with thousands of Hindu devotees. The air pulsed with music, laughter, and joy. Clouds of brightly colored powders floated above us, mingling with the splashes of water as revelers celebrated the triumph of good over evil and the arrival of spring. It was a riot of color and spirit, a living tapestry of Indian devotion and festivity. We also visited the historic BAPS Swami Narayan Mandir, once the home of the revered spiritual leader Swami Narayan. The temple was serene and radiant, a place of calm in contrast to the vibrant chaos of Holi celebrations. Salangpur itself is a small village of about 3,000 people, situated near the border of Ahmedabad district. Yet despite its modest size, it holds a monumental place in the religious and cultural map of Gujarat. That day in Salangpur, surrounded by faith, color, and friendship, felt timeless, a vivid celebration of life and spirit in the heart of rural India.